Salute to everybody joining in. This is episode 29, Constant Elevation with myself, tomorrow, and the legendary co-host, Brother Jay, Black Watch, Flatbush, Brooklyn, the building. So this is a monthly build we have, usually the first Wednesday of each and every month. Like we said, we had some difficulties. We couldn't go live, but making it up for you guys. We got a fun one. I think there's a lot to talk about with this one. Real quick before we get into it, this is a structured build, so please try to keep your questions, comments related to what we're talking about so everybody can benefit. And yeah, so let's get into it. We're going to be talking technology. The title of this is really technology and hip hop, the good, the bad, the ugly. And what I wanted to say before we set it off, man, is that it's cliche to say that like technology is ruining everything around, right? Like that's everyone's like technology. It's people, but you know what I mean? It's not necessarily technology. So I want to look at obviously the fuck shit, but I want to look at some of the positive things that have come out of the technology and some of the things that we can use to you know, in hip hop for the better, not just like trash it. So that's why I wanted to talk about it all objectively. So
no doubt.
You go with that? All right.
No doubt.
Yeah. So so what I wanted to ask you at first is, do you recall any, like, what were some of the major technological breakthroughs in early hip hop? Maybe just with recording, or just with just earlier on when you were in the game, or when something, you know, some piece of equipment or whatever, any type of change. What was there anything that would like really jump started the game? You know, like when you were coming up.
Yeah, the multi-channel mixers gave us opportunity to have, you know, several channels. You know, if you were creative with that, you can turn that into tracks, you know, with the cassette decks and things of that nature.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the multi-channel mixers in the analog world first opened up a lot of doors. And then turntables, when the platters got better on the turntables, because, you know, you used to have to put a record underneath the record that you was cutting, or, you know, you had your rubber mat hooked up in a certain way and whatnot. It was really awkward and shit. So there were natural progressions of the technology before the digital world came in. You know, right. What I'm saying? So you had to be creative. I think that's what's missing in the digital world, is that you know, everything is plug and play. So you don't really have to have any schooling of how things connect and, you know, how to get better equipment. You know, you just trying to follow the YouTube guide, or, you know, or just guessing and shit when you go to a spot to get equipment. But I think coming up with the analog kind of taught us. That was kind of our natural school. I mean, you know, in New York, in the basements and shit, you know, we trying to figure out how to maximize and create it to where the house, you know, how to get our vocals clean, you know, onto the shit, so we can make our own demos without having to pay $25, $30 an hour.
Right.
Beating us in the head. You know what I'm saying? It was beating us in the head, you know, because we didn't know. You know, engineers ate off that shit for years, you know, and part of this conversation will be about how those engineers and some producers kind of abandoned us by selling out, you know, the drum kits and different things of these natures for these companies and whatnot. You know, you kind of made it easy for cats to emulate you. You know what I'm saying? Just being able to take, here's a Premiere template of how to make beats, so you're not going to check for Premiere anymore, because you got his whole template, drum pattern, you know, how a nigga think, how he uses hi-hats, everything. You selling that in a box. And I'm not calling him out, but I'm just saying, you know, producers of high caliber find themselves selling out what they were in quest for a long time. You know, it was hard to get drum kits for your machines, your MPCs and things of that nature. You really had to be linked to a powerful producer. Like if you were to get some Dre drum kits or something like that, that means you knew someone in that platinum world that had access. It wasn't something that you go and download for $5.99 and then all of a sudden you a platinum producer. you know, and then you become a scab worker because you're selling beats to
Is it a
people
scam
for,
worker?
you know what I'm saying? You selling beats to cats for $20 and shit, and the producer could never get paid. You know, after that, you kind of set the mark, and the medium when you do that, you know, just getting a sound just off anything and just throwing it out there like that. Their cats have been producing for a long time, so I think that's where technology is kind of hitting the industry in the head. You know, the disloyalty, you know, just giving it to these companies. I've always felt angry that a lot of the producers that we know didn't have hardware behind them. Like, you know, where's the DJ Scratch turntable? You know, something that he created, you know, specifically around his technique, rather than having his drum patterns or his style in a computer situation. I would like to see him with some hardware getting paid, and us now buying a Scratch turntable or Cash Money turntable or Jazzy Jeff or something, a mixer, something, you know, and not just a white label situation. Let them come in and you know, design the fader, design the this, and then we know it's their brand, and we can continue to support our heroes. Right. I think that's another place where, you know, technology kind of shits on hip hop a little bit. You know, they don't give back enough in that place.
Right. I mean, it's happened a little bit over the past years with some DJs, stuff like that. They've got some things going, and some sponsorships and some collaborations going. But it's a little too late. I mean, that stuff should have been happening a while ago. But it's, you know, it goes back to some of the stuff we've talked about before. You know, like really knowing our own worth, right? Knowing our own value, knowing like and really putting stock into that value, and it's like, hey, like I'm making you tons of fucking bread by you know, you see me in these DMC competitions doing all this shit, and you see what I'm using, you know. So there definitely should have been more of collaborations and you know, with the companies. The companies should have looked out.
Yeah, I felt that a lot of the winners of those competitions, you know, people like Craze, you know, just win Plastic Man, you know, different cats like that. I felt that a lot of the winners of the seminars and the DMCs and shit, they should have been in on, you know, creating something. You know, scientists come together and made the Roger Lynn MPC and shit. Why couldn't some of the champion DJs come in and get that bread? You know, but you know, I don't shit on technology because it made a lot of things easier with production and playing music. Right. You know what I'm saying? As far as like how you used to have cats carrying crates, you know what I'm saying? You had to have 2 or 3 homeboys rolling with you to come to a party, and now you can just basically carry your laptop, probably one CDJ, and just roll up into place and, you know, start making things happen. So, you know, there are pros to the convenience of doing your thing with this thing, but you know, at the same time, you got cats who would just start making playlists instead of actually doing the work. Hip hop is about doing the work. You know what I'm saying? That's what makes you exceptional. If you're a playlist DJ, you're not actually cutting and scratching or blending or whatever case may be. It kind of spits on people who have created that as a craft. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you're getting hired and, you know, cutting in front of people. Again, a scab worker. You know what I'm saying? Someone that, you know, kind of overrides the union of this thing. It's kind of a natural union in hip hop, regardless if they recognize it or not. You know, it's just certain ways and levels. There's levels to this situation that have to be respected. You know what I'm saying? If you're a DJ, go back and learn the techniques and then show it from the analog to the digital. You know, cats are so used to now press. You know, for the experts, that convenience is cool, but you know, there should be some kind of original schooling or something, you know, so they can respect the era. If you skip past the lessons of an era, you can't respect it.
No, not at all. Salute to everybody joining in. And one thing I wanted to add here, because you touched on it a little bit, man, and I was thinking about this when I was preparing, is to me, like I said, technology is not necessarily an issue. To me, technology is for a couple of purposes. To help you do what you're already doing faster and more efficiently.
Correct.
And so to me, it's for the dope cats to be even more dope. because they now have less time. They have more time. They're saving more time with these tools. It's not for the amateur to start out. It's, in my opinion, it's for those who are already using this shit to become even better, more efficient, hone their skills, and not have to worry about workarounds and all the stuff they were doing before, because now you can do something, but they still have the ear, they still have the knowledge, and they're applying that in their music, and the music should be even better. That's my opinion, versus you starting out, you know, I've seen videos, learn how to do a back flare scratch or whatever, this scratch in 6 seconds.
Right.
That's not what it's supposed to be like.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean,
To your point.
you know, these people have bottled swing and taught it to the robot, and now we're behind it. You know what I'm saying? We were teaching the machines when we sample into these things, showing them how we as a human play a drum pattern and so on. So they bottled that. You know, even right now with the AI situation, we fed these machines the flows and the hooks and the melodies and things of that nature. It can't generate it on its own. And they even fix it to where whatever comes from that is considered perfect music, where it's only perfect if the harmony touches the human being. You know, machines don't listen to each other. So it's not always an on beat thing that there's no room for that anymore, the way that production is now, because they're telling you how to produce and how to place your vocal in order to do a thing. Now, where you're saying the machines are supposed to assist us, okay? They're not supposed to lead us. I'm not supposed to go to a machine and have it teach me whatever. I'm supposed to have played instruments and things of that nature, or at least have some kind of core rhythm to say, now, machine, follow me, do this, place this, sequence this. Now it's teaching you, oh, you're off, move this back here, do this, such and such and such. You know what I'm saying? And I feel that's going to be a major problem, because now when AIs are generating the kind of music that we are supposed to quote unquote enjoy, what rhythm are you going to attach to? You going to attach to all this booty music and bullshit? Because look, when you hear Future and all these cats, man, these dudes are talking in robot. They're not even with their physical signature, vocal signature. So if I listen to Drake and I say, well, what kind of machine does Drake use? I can go get that same machine, turn the notch 2 times, and then I'm instantly Drake. All right, right? I can't do that with Gladys Knight. I can't do that with, you know, God bless Tina Turner. These people have vocal signatures. The artists today, they don't even have a vocal signature. So now these people can bite your shit, and you can say, hey, that's my vocal. And it's like, no, that's your vocal augmented with robot shit.
Right.
So what kind of case would you have against someone saying that, saying, yo, man, I heard this style and I got the machine, and it happens to be that I sound like you when I turned it 2 notches to the left. So for the past 10 years, you've been teaching cats not to even have a vocal signature. People who can't even sing go to a machine and turn it 2 or 3 notches, and all of a sudden they're fucking, you know, American Idol and shit.
They're dope. They're multi-millionaires and got the whole world thinking that they can fucking sing.
Yeah, man, really.
Videos and clips of these singers without the auto-tune. It's like cats fighting in a fucking alley in Brooklyn somewhere. Like, word. Like,
hey, bro, but this is the algorithm. This generation of music, and then now they separate us again to say this is a new generation now. What is it called? Generation Z or whatever the fuck. I don't know what they label it, but you separate us in these categories. But, you know, you've erased the pocket that we dance at. When you go to a club, I don't dance like a pogo stick. The music is designed to make you dance like a pogo stick. You don't even have rhythm to be free and express anymore. You know what I'm saying? So you're training people, you're terraforming people to basically move like robots and then listen to robotic music. And this is a form of control. You know what I'm saying? We are, you know, turning into cyborgs with this thing. And then you're making the equipment more convenient for us to go further into that rabbit hole to say, damn, I would love to do some of these things, but, you know, the learning curve is above me. You know what I'm saying? When I was mixing 2-3 weeks ago, the engineer doesn't even have to come to my house. I'm on my computer and I can share the mix. So it's not like I send it to you, send it to me back. Now I can just be on the board and the dude is turning the bass right, doing things, correcting my mix.
Mastering on the spot, engineering on the spot.
On the spot. And I'm saying now for artists who have been through things, that's now a benefit to us because now we can test the volumes of the song. Now, if I'm a new jack, I skipped 20 levels of things before I'm getting to this point. You kind of spoiling this generation to know, what's a right and wrong mix. They haven't had the chance to go through it. It's just like, well, I'll just go do this and send it off to the homie, have them corrected, send it in, get a hit record, and then I'm, better than somebody that's been in it 20 years or whatnot. I felt that they opened these gates a little early, you know what I'm saying? But, there's no, you know what I'm saying? And I feel bad that being part of the 90s.
Repeat that again, family. There's no what? You went out for a second. You said there's no what?
There's no rules.
Okay.
I said there's no rules to this thing. I felt that, I was disturbed that being part of the 90s, that we didn't go into things like hardware and software and things that were going to, copy our styles and copy how we get down. I wish we had got in that business because this generation will respect us more. So now this generation receives all the white label machines and the white labels of the program. Now they're pushing what they stole from us. You making generations enemies with this thing, and it's not like, we don't have to be primitive in order to, while we do hip hop and whatnot. But there are some good things in the grassroots of the game. There are some good things. There's when you DJ, there's a natural rhythm that you get. I always feel like MCs should DJ, you know what I'm saying? And not just press the button and let me rhyme. I feel that you should be through all of the elements or a few of the elements of hip hop so you can understand what it is. Right. And this technology now is copying the MC, the DJ, the producer, the rhythm, and reselling it to us in a place where our knowledge is not at the same tier. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a little bit of knowledge and wisdom to move forward, or you should. You don't have to do shit. Like I said, there's no rules, but it just makes a better artist. It kind of shows where the gap of the new artists versus the past artists. It shows where that gap begins. That's a good when you see that people have skipped, a lot of those lessons and shit.
Like 20 years. So like your case in point is, so for the person who's, for example, you just gave, like, you said turn a knob and so, or whatever it is, or sample, whatever it is, the engineer, and they've skipped 20 years of fucking up, learning, right? Because you learn from your mistakes. And so, and there's a lot to be said for that, man. And this is the thing. And when I've met young artists, whether they're producers, singers, MCs, whatever, that are really dope,
right?
There's always a common thread. And the common thread is they've worked with old equipment, or they've worked with old styles, or they know the history, and they know there's a young brother, he's like 16, and he gets busy on the MPC, like beats, finger drumming and stuff like that, makes a lot of beats, and he's dope. Just lots of soulful stuff. And I'm like, man, this brother, but he's working with analog equipment. He's learning from, people, and he's learning the whys and not just the hows. You know what I mean?
I know his shit sound dope as fuck too.
Yeah. True.
I'm already knowing, bro. I used to look into a lot of rock musicians. I like rock music, and Lenny Kravitz used a lot of tube equipment on his first projects when he came, and I admired that. It created such a raw sound. Like I used to mix on Neve boards because it created a warmer sound than the SSL. So when I saw Lenny Kravitz doing that, it was something that I like to keep in my practice. And I looked at different producers who do that, who mix in analog like that, like a Mad Lib, or, you know, someone on that level who takes the analog sound and still takes it as a priority and still has an audience around it. You know, I like that. You know, it doesn't require you to have, for the consumer to have a turntable for us to go back.
You did?
Like cats are now playing a lot of shit out because they don't want to pay sample costs. But we're going to lose a lot of feel letting these robots kind of dictate what our ears feel right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? And if they look now at even some of the celebrities, they're going back into sampling real heavy, you know, to a point where they're buying master reels and shit like that. You know, if it was all about digital, then why would you go back and sample anything back from the past?
Right.
You know, there has to be some magic in that analog somewhere, man. So, you know, I encourage people to study both worlds and just find the balance, you know, with your style, because the ear has been damaged already. It's not like you can just go back and start bringing cats back to boom back 1990 and just sampling shit. You got to have powerful drum kits, because cats have been drowning you in 808s as a drum pattern, not as like the end of a bar, or, you know what I'm saying, where it's just like boom, you know, and the beats keep rocking, then boom, and then now it's like boom, 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 boom. So you gotta have powerful kits, and you're not gonna get that from analog sound unless you have mastered what that is to make your, you know, your sound piece really wide and whatnot. But, you know, most cats are not even into engineering like that. That's all I say. You know, it's when you don't have that skill, you don't know what's missing. You don't know what's making your shit different from what's being played on today's wave or whatever the case may be. You don't know drum patterns, tempos, and, you know, megahertz and things of that nature. You know, if you just plug and play, like I just want to hear myself rhyme and get it out on the stream and shit, you're not getting no real lessons from that, man. You're not adding on to the movement to kill foolishness with that kind of thinking. You know, we win when we think and apply, man. And it's time to get studying. You know, you look at the game now, dummies are winning. And you say to yourself, how can I recreate the sound that I love and put it on the platform of today? That should be where you start your learning. You know what I'm saying? So if you're not going to have a chip in your hand, what kind of watch you going to have to control your shit? You know what I'm saying? You don't have to bow down, you know what I'm saying, in order to understand the technology, in other words, you know?
Right. I wanted to go back to this AI business a little bit. I mean, it was on my list because it's some really wild shit, and to me, and because people have sent me tracks that, you know, that aren't Jay-Z, but they're, you know, AI generated Jay-Z tracks or AI generated whatever. And yo, I just want to get your take on this, because to me that's some really scary shit, man. Like, and I think I always say, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, right? Like, just because you know how or because you can figure out a way, some shit to be left alone. So, like, where do you see this all going? Because when I find a Jay-Z track, or when somebody sent me like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like somebody sent me like Arnold Schwarzenegger AI, it was funny as shit, but it was like some total fuck shit Arnold Schwarzenegger, but it was AI. They looked just like him, and I'm like, here.
Well, I mean, this is the next level of the bullshit, because, as we said earlier, there's no rules to this. You know, what part of your contract covers AIs imitating you? A human being imitates you and they can sue you, but I don't think anywhere in your contract says if a computer happens to generate your voice, sue the machine or the box.
Yo, I bet within the next 5 years, they're going to have to come out with AI insurance for people. Like, you know how they have like identity theft shit? Like, they're going to have to come out with some shit if somebody fucking...
Yeah, but again, let's go back. How do you sue somebody when you got a gang of shit on your voice? You don't ever put your voice out without some shit on it. I don't have a lot of EQ and shit on my voice when I do my music. Maybe a little reverb, little other extra shit, you know, into they mix, dog. So, you know, a lot of people are at a loss right now. You know what I'm saying? Real people who sing and come from their soul and got a real signature, they'll be safe. Somebody took your voice, God, and did a song and shit. You know what I'm saying? Did a song with Cardi B and shit. Your girl. and it goes million plus. Who you suing? The A5 1000 nigga? Who you suing? Who are you suing, man? You know what I'm saying? People think shit before they come with it, bro. They ain't gonna come out and do that shit. Them people been making money off that shit. You know, Drake probably got Draco in Russia somewhere and they dancing to some shit. Look, we allowed this. What happened when the dude Phantom, Panda came out and everybody thought it was Future?
I heard about that.
Okay? What happened with that? He didn't get sued. That nigga went and made $1,000 million. You can't hate on him because his voice sounds like someone. Okay? What happened when the dude sound like Ghostface Killer?
Oh, Action Bronson?
Yeah. What happened? He was so proud of it, like, yo, nigga, I sound better than Ghostface. Did he ever get sued? He got bigger.
Man, you're painting a bleak ass picture right now. Like Bob Ross in the like most fucked up picture right now, family. Like,
hey, that's crazy.
Facts,
It's facts, my lord. There are loopholes in this thing because when they created it, I'm sure when they created the music business, they didn't think people would be biting on each other like this, nigga. It's like, yo, get out here, sing your song, call it a day. But these motherfuckers will go imitate you. And these people are stupid because I would make a deal with these artists. I'm getting hits and offer them a split. You ain't had to do shit. Just offer them a split. Here, man, take this. I was inspired by you. So just like when you do a sample Bob James, you sample somebody else or Michael Jackson, whatever the fuck may be, and you give them a piece of the situation when you sample them. So if you were inspired by these artists to create a thing, just offer them a piece. And now there's a mechanical, virtual them performing in a side of the world where they never would have even gave a fuck. It's just going to expand your audience. Why would you say no?
right.
Somebody walk up and say, I don't want to eat by myself. I made something, you know, of you, and I want to give you a piece. If I drew a picture of you, dog, and it's selling 1 million copies and shit, and you catch me, I would want to give you a piece. I wouldn't want to say, fuck you, nigga. I put a mustache on you. You don't have a mustache. So, you know what I'm saying? These computer dudes can make a relationship with these celebrities and create a whole different market. Okay? But, you know, I don't know how they're going to handle it because if they approach it fucked up, there really is no law. You know, this virtual thing. Look, man, they were copying money. They made their own currencies. How many currencies were out, dog? And no one could stop these people. People were dumping their whole shit in it. And it was just showing you how far the loopholes are in this virtual game. We're talking about virtual shit with this music now, you know, and then people's images. You know, they got a Morgan Freeman voice and you done created some other kind of black looking person and they're talking in Morgan Freeman's Get Down and shit.
Shit's wild, man. And
that's wild, bro.
The whole thing is to me is demonic, and it's like, as I said before, just because you can figure out how to do something doesn't mean it should be done, and not on a wide scale, you know. And that's the unfortunate thing. I mean, that's, you know, but like you said, you can't sue who are you going to sue? You know, no rules. Because when I think about the internet, right? So if you think about the internet in and of itself, what the fuck is it? Like, and why do I have to pay Comcast and Xfinity or whatever for what? Like, somebody got a hold of it. It's okay. We're gonna charge you for this shit. You know, there's a service, but the internet. Where the fuck is it? Where is that? You know what I mean?
You paying for the satellites.
Yeah.
You paying for the satellite. You know, you're paying for the width. You're paying to have access to the global. We're spoiled now. that we can talk to people around the world and shit. But this is a heavy thing. You remember when it first came out? It wasn't all that. We are the guinea pigs of all of this shit. We're seeing the results now of all the machinery that we bought, the video games, everything that we bought. Those are beta tests for all the shit that we're witnessing right now. So even our style of what we were doing as music was like a beta test for them to say, okay, what do they use? What do they like? Oh, they like the Roger Troutman thing or such and such. Look when what's the dude down south that did the vocoder thing? Dread dude, dark skin.
That could be like 70
niggas. The bartender, what's his name? R&B hip hop dude, producer, down south with dreads.
Way back in the day, or like our era?
Right now, I like the bartender.
Oh no,
T-Pain. Name?
What's that? T-Pain.
T-Pain. This motherfucker. Now, when he came out with that shit, you go to Walmart and you saw the little mic device that makes you sound like him. All right? This is the beginning of the understanding that T-Pain is now a style rather than an artist. This AI shit is going to put everybody in a pocket. It's going to be filters. You want the Brother J filter? You want the Chuck D filter? You want the such and such filter? Now, who are you going to sue behind that? Because this is a likeness of you. This is not you. This is like Chuck D-ish.
I'm done with life, man. I'm done. Every time we talk, man, like, I love our builds, but like every time we talk, unfortunately, I'll be honest with you, all jokes aside, I just get more and more discouraged because here's the thing. I don't see, like, you and I are talking about shit, and we're talking about possible solutions sometimes, but like, but usually it's more like, damn, they fucked up. And it's like, I just see it as, it's like a crash and burn. Like, you know, like you're just watching some shit, and you're just sitting back watching it, and that's what I feel like when we have our...
And that's what's happening, bro, because you're not going to get, people are going to have to decide, do you want the computer generated, or do you want to go back to the live artist? Is going to get like that. And the same way that someone would accept the Action Bronson over a Ghostface, because he manufactured his style after hearing that, like, I can do that better. Okay, that was a thought pattern. It was thought pattern before it became AI. So you got people who don't give a fuck like that. It's like, yo, I think Action Bronson does his style better. It's tighter. It sounds like this, da-da-da-da-da. So people are going to say, look, the computer is always perfect, on perfect timing. Hip-hop is not about perfect timing. Do you think that ODB going, oh, do you think that's like chord for chord, pocket for pocket shit, nigga? You're going to lose the real feel of music if this thing overrides people's understanding.
Well, it's just like, I mean, as I was thinking of it, it's kind of like across the board, right?
Yes.
People, you know, like fake this, fake that, men, women, we're all, you know, plastic this, right? It's becoming that way in every sphere of life, in my opinion, right? Like, do you want the real shit? You want the real food?
Right.
You want the real vegetables? Or do you want the fake shit? Do you want the real woman, the real man, or do you want the fake shit?
And you
real music?
How many people read the stickers when they go to the store and say this is a real lemon or not?
Right.
You're not going to do that with your music. The shit comes on, it sounds good, you're going to gravitate.
Right. So that's the thing, man. It's across the board. I mean, like, everything we do, do you want the real or do you want the fake? And everybody overwhelmingly is choosing the fake. And I think in all those areas, we're choosing the fake.
It's man or machine. That's always been the war. It's man or machine. And now it's becoming evident, like, it's right in your face. What are you going to do? Abandon all of the good time music that we have to some robot singing it back to us, and then making us continue to buy in this fashion because we don't own the distribution outlets. If they stop signing us and just started signing AI artists, how are we getting out on these free apps and all this other bullshit while they have the top marketing. Look, bro, if I'm a record company and you tell me that you got a robot that can produce hits, that's no headache for me. That artist is not going into getting into trouble and smoking weed in the airport and pulling guns out at the fucking arena and all kind of stupid shit. You know, it saves me a lot of shit. If I can get all y'all trap shit and kill and die and shoot motherfucker and have a robot singing it, very easy to program a machine to say fuck, shit, and full. But you know, when it comes to that real spiritual music that we have and that culture and shit like that, ain't no computer can fake that, bro.
Right.
You ain't gonna hear no computer talking about a leg bar and and the pyramids and things of that nature and just real soul feeling. But it's really easy to program something to just speak hardcore, speak dirty to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But you would confuse that machine to say build positive.
Because when I think about
me, write me a conscious poem.
Right. So if you think about like Chuck D, like, or your Public Enemy, like, you know, Night of the Living Bassheads or something, like that's coming from here.
Correct.
You know what I mean? That's not
Correct.
coming from no fucking computer, man. And so
that's where we win now. This is where we win. Originality is precious. That's correct. That's correct. And big up Ronan Ali. Yeah, but yeah, this is the thing. The originality is the key right now. And for conscious artists, this is a time that you can really win. They cannot imitate you. They cannot imitate your spiritual studies. You can imitate language that you learn from the enemy. Okay, but you can't imitate indigenous shit. This should be like a wave of positive people now starting to write in this fashion because the computer can't make a filter of that, bro. I can make a filter of all that other shit. Keywords, whole bitch, car, chain, whatever. Every same patterns. I can line 20 records up right now, the same shit, the same vocabulary.
Right.
So you know the computer has 1,000 ways.
IG, wow. I'm glad I'm recording this shit.
Oh, I'm happy, bro. Real shit. Real shit. You paused it. Could you hear me?
You went out a little bit.
Yeah, I could see the thing still moving, but you was paused.
Yeah, you good now. You good now. But yeah, no, they're not gonna be able to replicate that because it's like they're gonna say like every 6 lines put a skit.
Correct.
Can you hear me?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, I can. I can hear you.
It's
yeah, man.
Bugging a little bit. But one thing I do want to cover, man. It's already 8:40. One thing I do want to cover is before we get out of here is the streaming. Because for me, you can hear me, fam?
Yes, I can.
Let me know if you can. The streaming, it's bittersweet for me because I grew up a certain way and I love having the physicals and this and that. But being like on the move and this and that, it's extremely convenient. And you know, for me, from that level, I get it for why artists. It seems like the kiss of death. But like, what's your take on it as far as like, do you try to maximize that as an artist? Do you even look at that, or do you not even concern yourself with streaming it these days?
I just think people have to register their music, and that way, when it moves around, you know, you get what you put out. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn this business right now. You got to tag your shit. You know what I'm saying? If you put a video out, you got to learn how to tag your shit and get you and monetize from it. It's the same thing with your music. You got to tag it. You go to these labels, they'll tag it for you to make sure, because they're going to make sure they get their money. So whatever they were doing, you got to do that for yourself now. Shit, if a robot can sing your lyrics and all kind of shit now, you should be able to learn how to tag your own music when you create it and register so your splits and shit are proper, so wherever it's floating around, you get a piece of it.
Right.
You know, that's what I liked about that NFT market, because every time your music moves on, it's already tagged. You know, your smart wallet and everything is attached to it. I thought that was going to be the new wave of music. You know what I'm saying? And you know, people just started chasing the wrong things. They chasing what's the guy name who shot Shorty in the foot?
Tory Lanez or some shit.
Yeah, Tory Lanez. Yeah. So, you know, they chased his thing when he, you know, made $1 million in like what, 48 hours or some shit. You know, he put out music for $1, which empowered his fan base, because now the music was resellable from them, from his archives directly. So 1 million people in his following got the shit for $1. They can go sell it for $40. They can sell it for $100. So now he gets a piece of that without having to go, yo, did you sell that album yet? Because the smart wallet was designed to kick back the bread to you. So you never have to go. That record could sell 1,000 times and the artist continued to get paid. I really thought that was the eureka of the shit, but they made the market look trash. You know, like, oh, NFT is a failure, crypto is a failure. No, nigga, that system would work, because the tagging on your music for your smart wallet to be tagged with your music when it's moving around, and then you're gathering your core audience to support you, and you don't have to overcharge them. You empower them.
Yeah, well, big business and big banks and big corporations do not want crypto to work at all. You know what I mean? They don't want that. Well, I mean, but I'm just saying, like, they don't want to see people going and doing their own shit and going that way about it. So just I'm saying, to your point, as far as, like, you know, it didn't take off. I feel like that. I mean, I almost feel like that's some deliberate shit. You know what I mean? Because
yeah, but you know, currency is the agreement of the people. If 12 of us don't accept American dollars and we just take poker chips, who's going to tell us that? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to tell us no? Then once we get another 100 to 1,000 people to whatever, we become the next Bitcoin. Currency is an agreement of the people. It's only the American dollars because we agree, okay, this is a good medium to say, I trade this to you for this and we can barter or whatever. So who's to say that we can't start this market? If you have agreeable people, which is a true loyal audience, you can win. So all you need is 10,000 people. You know what I'm saying? And you can just keep rotating and letting yourself grow. And if you're empowering them as core fans, you can never lose, because now that's natural marketing. It's not marketing where you got to go and pay somebody to say, put my shit on a billboard, put me on TV. No, my audience always advertises me naturally. You know, and now when that becomes a regiment, then the currency now is a reciprocity to it. Right. You know what I'm saying? I give, you receive, you win, give back. I give, you receive, win, kick back. You know, and I really thought they had it, bro. You know, I was looking at that market for a long time, but I know when people that were in it, that made money, started talking bad about it, they didn't want anybody in. Just like you're saying, you know, they don't want anybody in, not only just the corporations, but people who excelled off of it when it was a penny stock, you know, when it was a small corner, you know, where you can go and push a painting online and shit, and then, you know, art people from around the world bid on an outside type of gallery situation where you can sell a piece for $500, $1,000, or whatever case may be, just off sincerity. Then it became a hustle for people. You know what I'm saying? You draw a picture of SpongeBob, put it up, and expect somebody to pay you $5,000 in NFT. That's not how it works. You know what I'm saying? If you have a strong audience and they follow you, you know, you've been doing music for years or painting for years and shit, and your audience now can touch you directly outside of an Instagram and things like that. That's where that NFT shit would have won. Now technology now serving the artist directly, touching their people,
right,
and creating the relationship, like, let's empower each other. I'm going to give you something off my cutting room floor for this. Go to the world. You are now the store. And that person can say, hey, I'm going to do $10. I'm going to do $50. I'm going to do whatever. It's a collector's item, and it's up to that consumer to find someone that feels like that about that product. Okay. So if you're a Van Gogh and you're a paint person and you want to find other paint people that love Van Gogh to death, and he just put out 20 pictures, minted and the whole shit, and you have the ability to go take that and not only make something for yourself, but bring something back to the person that you fuck with, that is a great market.
Right, right. I wanted to touch on some of a couple of the positive things that we've, because you talk about the negative stuff, the technology, but like one of the positive things is you and I being right here, having this conversation and being on our 29th show because of technology. And there's a lot of things to me that have come out of the video aspect with some of this stuff, as far as being able to even just things like we transfer. I mean, I remember when like zip drives came out, everything, it's, we go way back, floppy disk, 5.25-inch floppies, and, you're playing the game with the arrow keys, to, being able to send huge files of information to people in a second across the world. Artists have been able to work together that never would have been able to work together, become friends. I know, like, people that have linked up and done albums. I'm like, how'd you link up with Casual? He's like, oh, I met him on Instagram. Da, 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 da. Right. So, in fact, that the people in here sharing and building, with us and stuff like that. I think, again, for me, it comes back to the people. Like, the technology, it's great. It's like, what do the people do with it, though? And like, because there's probably a show going on right now that's about some fuck shit. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
So
it just matters how we use it, my lord. Right. It matters how we use it. Sometimes it's a negative. When your shorties and your daughters and shit got their ass out on the sink and shit, when brothers are playing themselves and shit, trying to be a emotional therapist and shit online and shit, it's a waste. It's a fucking waste, my nigga. It's just ridiculous, man. It's like, we get something for free and we can finally touch each other and we waste time and bullshitting, dog. So it's like, it's how we use it. Just like we said, you can't sue that box. It's how someone took that AI technology and used it. You know what I'm saying? You're going to use it to benefit the game, or you're going to use it to go make your own shit and make it confusing and start a black market that nobody needs. You're going to have people now just imitating people for the fuck of it.
Right. And that's the thing. But you made a good point, and someone else said it. We can't be I've never been afraid of technology. I've always embraced it and tried to use it in the best way possible. And like, again, make my life, save time and do what I need to do more efficiently and better. Like, that's the thing. Like, if a factory has it's an invention, a new machine, the machine's going to produce more shit quick, and that's the point. So it's
it's a master's tool, bro.
Right.
And it's and I don't want to judge anybody that they're not a master, but you got to weigh your lessons. That puts it where a person weighs you as a master or not and shit. It's not a judgment. It's just like, if somebody's been through 20 years dedicated in something and you give them a stronger tool, they're going to use it wiser than someone who's just, oh shit, what's this? Plug and play to here. Okay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We keep respect for each other by understanding the way. There's stages and levels to this shit. And now we will respect the younger generation going back. Like you said, that dude was going back on analog and things of that. You can say, yo, nigga, you went and paid some fucking dues. You got some knowledge. You won't get lost in the conversation when masters are talking. But if you just was plug and play, and I never knew that the such and such goes in, I never knew what this kind of cable was, or whatever the case may be, cats are going to frown on that. And I think that's where a lot of the anger with the older generation comes in, because we were the beta tests. We paid for all the mixers and turntables while they were figuring out what the best one was and all of this shit, and never got anything for it. We get a once a year tournament from a fucking turntable company, but everybody got turntables in their fucking house. But you give us a once a year and you can't even get in because it's overcrowded and shit. And there was no internet. So you got to wait for the VHS tape to go by the fucking bootleg man, if he was lucky enough to catch a copy, however the fuck that went down. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, the technology opened it up now where we can see more, see more receipts of the time, and there's no more myth and shit, you know, on things. You know, it did open some doors of truth for real, for people to really see that, you know, back in the days wasn't as dope as people say. A lot of shit back then was whack too. You know what I'm saying? So the technology does create an understanding, but the lessons bring us together. You know what I'm saying? The lessons of us learning the new technology and them learning where we came from as well. I think that is the bonding. And then business-wise, using that virtual world to create a agreement amongst your fan base. Just don't throw shit out at them. You have an agreement with them, like, we're going to look out for each other. I'm going to give you things of work. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to give you a time capsule of my style and shit and my thinking. And this will be something that people can benefit from in the future. If you write and dope like that, then you're a benefit. But if you just write the same old shit, you're just a carbon copy of the slop. And that's not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? You imagine now if intelligence is, you know, like an endangered species and shit, and you talk intelligence and put it on some wax or, you know, some digital shit or whatever the fuck, and you give it to your audience, they now have a time capsule of something that may not be around in the near future, dog. Right. I stand by conscious material at all times, man. Just, you know, the common sense and right reasoning, man, that we need. I tell people straight up, this is the best time. Do not get caught up. People who talk that dumb shit should be afraid. Intelligence should not be afraid. They have to dig their own way, find their core audience, and create a monetized system. So you're not a broke teacher. Poor righteous, you know, teacher does not mean broke. It means humble. Okay? You know, it's not poor like you got to have no money in your pocket to be righteous. It means to be humble. You know, that there's enough, you can get satisfied. Get you a small audience and create a nice machine that gives you the platform to take the time to create. And then your fan base is grateful for what you're giving because they can use it in their home and in their walk of life. And now that's like giving a holistic meal to a person. And they're giving their donation to you to make sure that you stay around. You're creating a new fan base, dog.
Right.
You know, just in my suggestion. You know, I don't know every fucking thing.
Makes sense. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be implemented by a lot of people, but it could have. I don't have that faith, but it does make sense. You know what I mean? And you made a good point earlier about, you know, older heads utilizing this technology and like, yeah, kind of like bridging these two worlds a little bit better. You know what I mean? And great point about the about us being the guinea pigs, though, and how these companies basically said, okay, you know, after DJ, Jazzy Jeff, Primo, all these cats used all this shit, now we can go and make one based on their shit.
I would love to buy a Jazzy Jeff mixer or a Cash Money turntable needle, you know, or a Chubb Rock microphone or some shit, nigga. I would have loved for hip hop to be part of the hardware and not a filter that you can now copy and say you can sound like Biggie Small, you can sound like this. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be in that clone world, dog. So, you know, I think this is a prime time for people to kind of start a movement or organic thought type of movement, dog, because, you know, we're going to be erased. This is like people just want you to be erased. All the styles that really come from that analog first feel good music type of shit, that whole style and concept is going to be erased. Yeah. You know, now we see how our ancestors felt, you know, when they erased the knowledge of the pyramids and shit and talk about, the aliens built that shit. You know, people know how to erase your history with technology and shit. If you can imitate us, you can just rewrite the whole shit. Right now, black people are fucking immigrants and weren't slaves. Right. So they're rewriting our history with all of this shit, and it's seeped in deep into the entertainment market. This is not new.
Right. That's it. Yeah, that's definitely. We might have to do that in the next conversation. We got a minute and a half, and they're gonna shut me down. So we're gonna make sure we save this. Hour always goes by fast. Always good build, man. I appreciate you. It's always gets me right for the next morning. You know what I'm saying? And this is episode 29 in the books. Thank you, brother. Man, I really appreciate you for this.
Great topic, man. I enjoyed the build. Thank everybody for joining us, man.
Salute to our man, Plug Manifesto. In our group, we came up with the topic, actually. Somebody asked again, we need a topic for next month. So we're back first Wednesday of each and every month, and this will be on our YouTube channel, and you'll get a clip up, and so be on the lookout for that. But thank you again, Brother Jay, and we'll talk soon. And a salute to everybody being here, intelligent comments, intelligent thoughts being shared and stuff like that. And it was a real good build. So really appreciate everybody sharing and adding on. Salute. So we'll talk to you.
All right. Peace, God. Respect, man. 100.